They say in Italy, there are two kinds of people you should never look in the eyes. A priest during confession and a mafia boss when he's angry. But on that particular day, inside a quiet little restaurant in Naples, a young American waitress did the unthinkable. Her name was Sophia Bennett, and she was a soft-spoken art student who had absolutely no idea that her ordinary shift was about to turn into a complete nightmare. When Don Matteo Romano, who was one of Italy's most feared mafia bosses, slammed his fist down on the table and called her useless, everyone in the room just froze. The cook stopped what he was doing. The customers all looked away, trying to avoid eye contact. Even the air itself felt heavy and thick with tension. Sophia tried to apologize, not once, but twice, until something deep inside her finally snapped. She looked straight into the mafia boss's cold, hard eyes and, in perfect Italian, she insulted him, and she did it loud enough for the entire restaurant to hear every single word. Everyone there thought she had just signed her own death warrant. But what the mafia boss did next was something that no one in that room could have ever imagined in their wildest dreams. Hey, beautiful souls, welcome back to the channel. Go ahead and drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you need to hit that subscribe button right now because what happens next in Grace's story is going to absolutely blow your mind. You definitely do not want to miss how this whole thing unfolds. Now let's get right back to the story. The clatter of plates filled the air. The suffocating August heat was just pouring in through Trattoria Marcella's open windows. Sophia's feet were screaming in her worn-out shoes after working a double shift. Her fingers were cramping around the notepad she was holding. Her art portfolio was sitting there waiting for her in her locker. It was a predator's smile, all teeth and danger and raw fascination. "You speak Italian," he said softly, dangerously soft. Sophia's bravado cracked just a little, but she held her ground. Her hands trembled slightly at her sides. She could feel every single eye in the restaurant on her, could hear her manager's strangled gasp coming from the kitchen doorway, and could sense the bodyguards calculating the fastest way to make her disappear completely. But she had already jumped off the cliff. She might as well try to fly on the way down. "My grandmother was from Napoli," she said, switching to English, her voice steadier than she actually felt. "She taught me that some men mistake power for permission to treat others like dirt." The restaurant manager, Yeppy, was a nervous man who had warned her a dozen times about controlling her temper, and he looked like he was about to have a full-blown heart attack. He rushed forward, his hands raised in supplication. "Don Romano, please. 1,000 apologies. She's new. She doesn't understand. I'll fire her immediately." "You'll do nothing." Matteo's voice stopped Yeppy mid-sentence. His eyes never left Sophia's face. "Leave us." "But Don." "Leave us." The restaurant emptied as if someone had pulled a fire alarm. Servers vanished. Diners threw cash on the tables and fled. Yeppy retreated back to the kitchen, probably to call the police or a priest or maybe even a cleanup crew. Only Sophia remained, standing there before the most dangerous man in the city, her heart hammering against her ribs like a caged bird. Matteo leaned back in his chair, studying her with the intensity of a scientist examining some brand new species. "What's your name?" "Sophia Bennett." "Sophia." He tested the name on his tongue. "Bennett. American father, was it? He died when I was 12. And now you work here. Insult mafia bosses. What else?" This whole situation was surreal. My mother was struggling. Nana would cook and tell stories about the old country. She taught me the language like a gift, every curse word, every proverb, every insult. Sophia's throat tightened. "She died 2 years ago, right before my mother got diagnosed." "So, you're alone." "I have my mother." "Who's dying?" The bluntness of his words stole her breath away. "The doctors say 6 months, maybe less. I'm trying to get her into a clinical trial at Sloan Kettering, but it costs." She stopped. Why was she telling him all of this? $75,000, Matteo finished for her, plus living expenses, plus your tuition if you want to finish your degree, plus the debt you've already accumulated. You need approximately $200,000 to save your life and hers. Sophia's blood just froze in her veins. "How do you?" I made a phone call while you were standing there trying not to cry. I know everything about you now, Sophia. Your mother, Patricia Bennett, works part-time as a school librarian. Your father, James, was a carpenter who fell from scaffolding. It was ruled accidental, and the insurance paid the minimum. You were accepted to Columbia's MFA program with a partial scholarship, deferred twice, and then withdrew. You owe $38,000 in medical bills. Your rent is 3 months overdue. You have $600 in your bank account and a student loan payment due next week. Horror washed over her, complete invasive violation. You have no right. I have every right. You insulted me. That requires investigation. The car pulled up to a brownstone that probably cost more than Sophia would earn in 10 lifetimes. Pristine, elegant, terrifying. Get out, Matteo said. Inside, the home was museum quality, with marble floors and Renaissance paintings that looked original because they probably were, and furniture that whispered of old money and even older blood. A woman appeared, a woman in her 50s with elegant, appraising eyes. Don Romano Collada will bring the wine. The Brunello. 2 glasses. They entered a study lined with books. Matteo poured wine with practiced ease and handed Sophia a glass. She didn't drink. She couldn't even sit down until he commanded her to. She sat. Matteo remained standing, studying her like she was some kind of puzzle that he was determined to solve. You have fire. Stupidity, yes, but also fire. You looked me in the eyes and spoke truth when everyone else treats me like a monster to appease. You are a monster, Sophia whispered. Yes. There was no denial, just a simple statement of fact. But I'm a monster who finds himself intrigued. You need money. I need something else. Here it comes, Sophia thought, the real horror, whatever twisted price he was going to demand. I need a wife. The words just hung in the air like smoke. Sophia blinked. What? Temporary. 6 months. A business arrangement. Matteo's voice was clinical, businesslike. I'm in the middle of delicate negotiations with the Calabrian families. They are old-fashioned. They don't trust unmarried men. They view them as unstable. My previous arrangement fell through. Her family married her off to a politician instead. I need a replacement. You're insane. I'm practical. You need money. I need a wife for appearances. We solve each other's problems. Sophia stood up, her legs shaking. I'm not marrying a mafia boss. Not really marrying. Performing. You'll live here, attend events, smile, and play the devoted wife. In return, I'll pay for your mother's treatment, the best doctors, the clinical trial, everything. I'll clear your debts. I'll pay for you to finish your degree. And when 6 months are complete, we'll divorce quietly. You walk away with enough money to start whatever life you want. This is insane, Sophia repeated. But her mind was already racing. Her mother's treatment. A chance. An actual chance. This is business, Matteo corrected. I need credibility with traditional families. You need resources. Neither of us needs love or complications. Just a transaction. And if I refuse? His smile returned, that dangerous smile. Then you walk out that door and go right back to your life, your dying mother, your impossible debt. I won't harm you, Sophia. I'm not a monster in that particular way, but I won't help you either. This offer expires the moment you leave this room. Sophia's hands trembled. 6 months, playing wife to a killer, living in his world, pretending. But her mother's face flashed in her mind, pale, weakening, trying to smile through the pain. Why me? She asked. You could have anyone. Because you're real, Matteo said simply. Everyone else performs for me out of fear or ambition. You insulted me because you were angry. Genuine. I need someone who won't break under pressure, who won't fall in love with the fantasy, who will walk away clean when it's done. Someone with nothing to lose and everything to gain. Someone desperate enough to say yes but strong enough to survive. He stepped closer. So what will it be, Sophia Bennett? Will you be my wife? The question hung between them like a blade. And Sophia, thinking of her mother's smile, her own destroyed dreams, and the impossible choice before her, opened her mouth to answer. Yes. The word left Sophia's mouth and sealed her fate. Matteo nodded once, as if he had expected nothing less. Practical. Good. We'll marry in 3 days at City Hall. Quiet, minimal witnesses. Your mother will be admitted to Sloan Kettering by Friday. Treatment begins immediately. 3 days? Sophia's head spun. I need to tell her. Tell her you met someone. Quick courtship. Very romantic. She doesn't need to know the details. Matteo pulled out his phone and typed rapidly. Carlotta will take you shopping tomorrow. You'll need appropriate clothing. Tonight you stay here. Your things will be collected from your apartment. Wait. I can't just. You can. You did. The moment you said yes, your old life ended. His eyes fixed on hers. Understand this, Sophia. For 6 months, you belong to me, not romantically, not physically unless you choose, but publicly, completely. You'll attend events, meet dangerous people, smile, and play your role. You'll learn our ways, our rules. You'll never embarrass me, never betray me, never question me in public. And in private? She challenged. That dangerous smile flickered. In private, you can insult me all you like. I find I'm starting to enjoy it. The wedding happened in a blur. City Hall. A judge who didn't ask any questions. 2 witnesses. Matteo's men. Sophia wore a simple cream dress that Carlotta had selected, elegant and expensive. Nothing like the thrift store clothes she'd owned before. Matteo slid a ring onto her finger. Platinum. Antique. Beautiful. Felt like a shackle. You may kiss the bride, the judge intoned. Matteo leaned in, his breath warm against her ear. We should make this convincing. His lips met hers, brief, controlled, professional. But Sophia felt electricity spike through her veins. Unexpected and unwelcome. This was business, just business. So why did her heart betray her with that treacherous flutter? Life in Matteo's world was disorienting. The brownstone became her gilded cage. Carlotta taught her the household rhythms. Sophia's mother was indeed admitted to Sloan Kettering. She was receiving the best care. The clinical trial had been accepted, and hope was blooming in Patricia's eyes for the first time in months. He's so wonderful, you're Matteo, her mother whispered, squeezing Sophia's hand. So generous, so in love with you. I can see it in how he looks at you. Sophia forced a smile. Her mother had only met Matteo once. He'd played the devoted husband perfectly, bringing flowers, speaking gently, and promising to care for her daughter forever. All lies, beautiful, necessary lies. But the charade was just beginning. The first event was a charity gala for cancer research, ironically. Sophia wore a midnight blue gown that cost more than 3 months' rent. Diamonds borrowed from Matteo's collection glittered at her throat. Remember? Matteo murmured as they entered the ballroom, his hand possessive on her lower back. You're madly in love with me. We're newlyweds, inseparable. I'll try not to vomit, she whispered back. His quiet laugh surprised her. There's my wife. The evening was a performance. Sophia met politicians, businessmen, and people whose pleasant smiles hid calculated cruelty. She recognized some faces from news articles, men who had been investigated for corruption, women who were married to power, an ecosystem of beautiful monsters, and Matteo was their king. She watched him work the room, commanding, charismatic, terrifying. Men deferred to him, and women watched him with hunger. And he played his part flawlessly, always returning to Sophia, touching her shoulder, her hand, her waist, claiming her publicly. Who's the girl? A voice asked. Dante Coronii, another crime family lieutenant, his eyes predatory. My wife, Matteo said simply. Sophia Romano. The name still felt foreign on her tongue. Sophia Romano, Mrs. Romano, the Mafia boss's bride. Quick courtship, Dante observed, suspicion underlying his words. When you know, Sophia answered, channeling every acting class she had ever taken. She leaned into Matteo and let her hand rest on his chest. I couldn't resist him. Matteo's arm tightened around her waist. Approval or warning? She couldn't tell. Later, on the terrace, stealing a moment alone, Sophia gulped champagne and tried to steady her nerves. You did well. Matteo's voice came from behind her. She turned. He'd removed his jacket and loosened his tie, somehow more dangerous in his casual state than he was when he was formal. I feel like a trained monkey. You feel like a woman playing a role to save her mother. There's no shame in that, is there? Sophia's mask slipped. I'm lying to everyone. Patricia was awake, watching them with knowing eyes and a small smile. Mama, I can explain. Explain that you're in love with your husband? Patricia's smile widened despite her exhaustion. I already knew, sweetheart. A mother knows. I just wondered when you'd both admit it. Sophia felt tears prick her eyes. If only her mother knew the truth. That this had started as a transaction. That Matteo was everything dangerous. That Sophia had been lying for weeks. But looking at Matteo now, seeing the way he watched her like she was his entire world, Sophia realized something that changed everything. Maybe it had started as a lie, but it had become truth. Rest, Mama, Sophia whispered, kissing her mother's forehead. We'll be right outside. In the hallway, reality crashed back. Matteo's phone rang. Antonio, Vincent's making his move, Antonio reported. He's calling a family meeting tomorrow night. He's going to challenge your leadership formally. Matteo's expression hardened. Let him. I'll be there. Don, he has support. The old guard thinks you've gone soft. The marriage, I haven't gone soft. I found something worth protecting. Matteo's eyes found Sophia's. And that makes me more dangerous than I've ever been. Tell Vincent I accept his challenge and tell everyone else. Anyone who stands with him stands against me. Choose carefully. He hung up and turned to Sophia. Tomorrow night, everything comes to a head. The family meets. Vincent will try to take everything from me. My position, my power, possibly my life. And you'll be right in the middle of it. Then we face it together, Sophia said, surprising herself with her certainty. Together. Together, Matteo echoed. Then his expression shifted. Vulnerable again. Uncertain. Sophia, what I said before. If it's too much, too fast. She kissed him, shorter this time, but just as real. It's terrifying and insane and probably the stupidest thing I've ever done. But it's real. So yes, Matteo. A wife you married in secret. A waitress with no family, no connections, no value to our organization. Vincent smiled. Unless the rumors are true. Unless she's actually a federal informant. The room exploded. Sophia's blood turned to ice. Federal informant? The accusation was insane. But she saw doubt flicker across faces. Men reaching for weapons. Trust shattering. You have proof of this lie? Matteo's voice cut through the chaos. Vincent slid a folder across the table. Bank records. Your wife's student loans forgiven mysteriously 6 months before you met. Her mother's medical bills partially paid by an untraceable source, and phone records. Calls to a number registered to the FBI field office. Lies had to be lies. But Sophia's mind raced. Her loans had been in forbearance, and her mother had mentioned a charity helping with bills months ago. A charity Sophia had never investigated. And her phone. She'd received wrong number calls weekly from a persistent telemarketer. Could those numbers be? No, this was a setup. Vincent was framing her. Matteo's expression was stone. This proves nothing. It proves enough for reasonable doubt. Vincent leaned forward. Send her away, Matteo. Divorce her. Prove your loyalty to the family or step down and let someone else lead. Never. Then you choose her over us. Over everything we've built. Over your own blood? Vincent's smile was triumphant. You've already lost, cousin. You just don't know it yet. Matteo stood. This meeting is over. Anyone who questions my leadership can leave now. But know this, you don't come back. You're dead to this family. No one moved. But Sophia saw the doubt, the fear, the calculation. Matteo's power was crumbling. Because of her. She couldn't let this happen. Sophia pushed through the kitchen door and into the dining room. Every head turned. Sophia, get out, Matteo growled. No. She walked to Vincent, hands steady despite her terror. You want proof I'm not FBI? Fine. Give me a polygraph right now. Ask me anything. Vincent laughed. How noble. But polygraphs can be beaten. Then what do you want? Blood? DNA? A confession that doesn't exist? Sophia's voice rose. I'm not an informant. I'm a woman who needed money and made a deal with your Don. That's all. The rest is lies. Maybe. Or maybe you're very good at your job. Vincent circled her like a predator. Either way, you're the problem and problems need to be eliminated. He pulled a gun. Mateo moved like lightning, putting himself between the weapon and Sophia. You point that at her again, you die. You'd kill your own cousin for her? You'd start a war. Destroy everything our grandfather built? Vincent's gun didn't waver. This is exactly what I'm talking about. She's made you weak. No, Mateo said quietly. She's made me realize what's worth protecting. And it's not power for power's sake. It's not fear and violence and tradition that serves no one. It's the people we love, the lives we can save, the humanity we can keep despite this world trying to strip it away. He turned to face the room. I've been your Don for 15 years. I've protected you, enriched you, kept the peace. But Vincent's right about one thing. I've changed because I found something real in a world of lies. And if you want to replace me because of that, then do it. But you'll have to kill me first. And you'll have to kill her. And that blood will stain this family forever. Silence. Then Antonio stood. I stand with Don Romano. One by one, others stood, not all, but enough. Vincent's face twisted with rage. You're all fools. She'll destroy us all. He pointed the gun at Sophia and pulled the trigger. The shot rang out, but Mateo was faster. He shoved Sophia down, took the bullet meant for her. Blood bloomed across his shoulder, the same shoulder she'd cleaned weeks ago. The room erupted in chaos. Antonio tackled Vincent. Men fought, loyalty lines drawn in blood. Sophia crawled to Mateo. No, no, no. I'm fine, he gasped. Shoulder. Not fatal. But he was bleeding badly. Sophia pressed her hands to the wound, trying to stop the flow. You idiot. You could have died. Better me than you. He smiled through the pain. Always better me. The fight ended quickly. Vincent was subdued, his supporters outnumbered, but the damage was done. Antonio approached. Don, we need to get you to a doctor. But the family is fractured. Vincent poisoned too many minds. Even with him gone, the doubt remains. The rumors, they'll spread to other families. The Calabrians will see this as confirmation we're weak. Mateo struggled to sit up, wincing. Then we end this. Tomorrow I'll meet with the Calabrians. Prove Sophia's innocent. Restore order. And if they don't believe you? Antonio asked quietly. If they demand she leave, if they make you choose between her and your position. The question hung like a death sentence. Mateo looked at Sophia. Blood on her hands, tears on her face, terror in her eyes. Then I choose her, he said. Every time I choose her. Later at the house, while the doctor stitched Mateo's wound, Sophia stood at the window, numb. This was her fault, the fracture, the doubt, the blood. Mateo found her after the doctor left, his arm in a sling. What are you thinking? That Vincent was right. I'm destroying you. He was a traitor and a liar. But the doubt is real. The danger is real. Sophia turned to face him. Mateo, I need to leave. Disappear. If I'm gone, you can rebuild, restore trust, lead like you did before. No, it's the only way. I said no. He crossed to her, his good arm pulling her close. I didn't take that bullet to lose you anyway. We face this together. Remember? What if together isn't enough? Then we fall together. But I won't let you go, Sophia. I can't. She wanted to believe him, wanted to believe love could survive this world. But as she held him, feeling his heartbeat, seeing his blood on her clothes, Sophia knew the truth. Tomorrow's meeting with the Calabrians would decide everything, and she had a terrible feeling that one of them wouldn't survive it. Sophia couldn't sleep. She sat in Mateo's study at 3 a.m., replaying Vincent's accusations, the bank records, the phone calls, the mysterious charity that had helped her mother. Something didn't add up. She opened her laptop. Mateo had given her access to everything when they married, banking records, phone logs, medical bills. She started digging. The student loan forbearance had been routine, deferred due to financial hardship. Nothing mysterious. But the charity that helped with her mother's bills. Sophia traced the name. St. Anani's Medical Fund. She searched deeper. The charity was real but small, run by... Her heart stopped. Father Michael Caruso, her nano's priest, the man who'd performed her grandmother's funeral. Sophia grabbed her phone, called him despite the hour. "Sophia?" Father Michael's sleepy voice answered. "Is everything all right? Father, the money you gave my mother. Where did it come from?" A pause. "I'm not supposed to say. It was anonymous. Father, please. My life depends on this." He sighed. "Your grandmother, before she died, she sold some jewelry, established a small fund. She wanted it used for your mother's care if anything happened. I was just honoring her wishes." Tears streamed down Sophia's face. "Thank you, Father." Her nana watching over them even in death. The phone calls were next. Sophia pulled the records Vincent had provided, calls to an FBI number. She cross-referenced with her actual phone bill. The numbers didn't match. Vincent had doctored the records, photoshopped them. The calls on her real bill went to a telemarketer, exactly as she'd remembered, but she needed proof, real proof that would satisfy the Calabrians. "Can't sleep either?" Sophia turned. He gently cupped her face with his uninjured hand, his touch tender. "So, today at the meeting I'm giving Vincent a choice. Exile or death. He leaves the city, never to return, and he gets to live. He stays, and that's the end of him. It's more mercy than he 56 minutes and 26 seconds deserves. But it's me holding onto my humanity. It's the line I can't cross." Sophia's heart swelled with emotion. "You're doing this for me. I'm doing this for us. For the life we're going to build together after all this is finally behind us. A life that isn't just about survival and violence. A life that's real, tangible." She kissed him then, softly at first, then deeper, a kiss full of promise and renewed hope. "I love you, Matteo Romano. Monster and man, every single part of you. I love you, Sophia Romano." Stubborn artist with a death wish. He smiled against her lips, the tension easing slightly. "Let's go finish this." The meeting 57 minutes and 2 seconds with the Calabrians was scheduled for noon at a neutral location. An old, forgotten warehouse down by the waterfront. Matteo's family stood on one side, the Calabrian delegation on the other. Vincent was positioned in the center, flanked by guards, attempting to maintain a defiant stance despite being a prisoner. Don Carlo Calabrese was an imposing figure at 80 years old, traditional to the core and sharp as a razor. He surveyed the room with eyes that could freeze hell over. "Matteo Romano, you requested this meeting. Speak your piece." Matteo stood tall. Sophia stood beside him, the damning evidence secure in Antonio's hands. "Don Carlo, you were informed that my wife is a 57 minutes and 37 seconds federal informant. This false accusation originated from my own cousin, Vincent Romano, who orchestrated an attempt to murder both of us in a blatant power grab. I have irrefutable proof of his deception." Antonio stepped forward, presenting everything. His face was contorted with a mixture of hatred and humiliation. But he was surrounded, outnumbered, and utterly defeated. "I lied," he spat out, the words laced with venom. "She's not FBI. I forged the evidence. I wanted power." He paused, the next words clearly choking him. "And I'm sorry." The apology was like poison on his tongue. "Not to me," Matteo said coldly, his voice cutting through the silence. "To her." Vincent reluctantly turned to Sophia, murder still flickering in his eyes. "Forgive me, cousin." Sophia should have felt triumphant, but instead, she felt a profound sense of pity. Vincent had destroyed himself in pursuit of a power that ultimately meant nothing. 1 hour and 10 seconds, you're forgiven, she said quietly, her voice barely audible. "Now leave, before I change my mind." Vincent was swiftly escorted out of the warehouse, banished to exile, alive but stripped of all power, a ghost of his former self. Don Carlo approached Sophia, surprising her by taking her hand in his. "You have courage, Sophia Romano, and you have made your husband more formidable, not less. Love does that when it's genuine." He offered a rare, almost imperceptible smile. "Welcome to the family." The meeting concluded with handshakes, agreements forged, and new alliances solidified. Mateo's position was now secure, stronger than it had ever been. In the car afterward, Sophia 1 hour and 46 seconds finally allowed herself to breathe freely. "It's over," she whispered, the relief palpable in her voice. "The immediate threat is over," Mateo corrected gently. "But we're just beginning." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box, opening it to reveal a stunning new ring. It wasn't the one from their initial arrangement, but a breathtaking sapphire surrounded by sparkling diamonds. "Sophia Bennett Romano, we started this as a business transaction, but I want to do this right. Marry me. Really marry me. Not for 6 months, not for appearances, but forever. Build a life with me. A real life filled with art and love, and 1 hour 1 minute and 19 seconds, yes. Some danger, because that's simply who I am. But also with joy and partnership and everything else we both deserve. What do you say?" Sophia gazed at the ring, then at Mateo's hopeful face, imagining the future that stretched out before them. Just 6 weeks ago, she had insulted a mafia boss and fully expected to die. Instead, she had found love in the most unexpected of places. "Yes," she said, laughing through her tears. "Yes, you impossible, wonderful, terrifying man." "Yes," he echoed, slipping the ring onto her finger. And this time, when 1 hour 1 minute and 50 seconds he kissed her, it tasted like freedom, like victory, like coming home. The celebration was short-lived. They were barely halfway home when Mateo's phone rang. Antonio's voice was filled with urgency. "Don, we have a problem. Vincent never made it to the airport." Mateo's expression immediately hardened. "Explain." "The escort car was found abandoned. Our men were drugged, not killed. Vincent is gone." Antonio hesitated, his voice strained. "He took something from your office before we arrested him. The private safe. It's been opened." "What was in it?" Sophia 1 hour 2 minutes and 28 seconds asked, her voice barely a whisper. Mateo's face went pale. "The ledger. Names, locations, transactions, 20 years worth of deals, allies, enemies, everything. If that information gets out." His phone rang again, the sound cutting through the tense silence. Unknown number. He answered it on speaker. Vincent's voice dripped with venom. "Hello, cousin. Missing something?" "Vincent. Whatever it is you're planning." "What I'm planning is simple. I'm going to the FBI. I'm giving them everything. Your entire organization. Everyone you've ever protected. Every deal you've ever made. 1 hour 3 minutes and 6 seconds by midnight tonight, unless you meet my demands, and my demands are simple. Sophia, you give her to me, alive and unharmed, and I disappear with the ledger. You'll never hear from me again. Refuse, and I burn your entire empire to the ground. You have 3 hours. The line went dead. Sophia felt a wave of ice flood her veins. He's bluffing. He's desperate. Mateo corrected her, which makes him more dangerous than ever. And he knows the one thing that will make me break. His eyes locked with hers, filled with a mixture of fear and determination. You can't give me to him. I won't. Mateo was already dialing his phone. 1 hour 3 minutes and 46 seconds. Antonio, track Vincent's location from that call. Get everyone mobilized. We have 3 hours to find him. But 2 hours passed without a single lead. Vincent had vanished, going completely underground, and the clock was relentlessly ticking down. Sophia paced back and forth in Mateo's study, her mind racing, trying to make sense of the situation. Vincent is smart, but he's also incredibly arrogant. Where would he hide? Somewhere he felt safe. Somewhere that held meaning for him. Suddenly, she stopped pacing, her eyes widening. "The restaurant," she said, her voice barely a whisper. Mateo looked up, confused. "What restaurant?" "Where we first met. Where this all started. Trattoria Marcella. Is closed for renovations, right? Empty." Vincent 1 hour 4 minutes and 25 seconds would see the twisted poetry in it, ending things where they began. Mateo's eyes widened in realization. Antonio, send teams to Trattoria Marcella. Now, Don, that's too obvious. He wouldn't. Just do it. Sophia's right. Vincent's not just trying to win, he's trying to make a statement. They arrived at the restaurant with only 30 minutes to spare. Matteo's men surrounded the building, securing the perimeter. The lights were off inside, but Sophia could see faint movements through the darkened windows. "He's in there," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Matteo turned to her, his expression firm. "You stay in the 1 hour 4 minutes and 58 seconds car. We go in, extract the ledger, and end this." "No." Sophia's voice was surprisingly steady. "He wants me. You wanted to be Don so badly that you were willing to betray everyone who ever loved you." "Love." Vincent spat the word out like a curse. "Love is weakness." Matteo proved that. "He chose you over power, over family, over everything our grandfather built. And they called him strong for it, rewarded him, because real strength isn't violence and fear, it's choosing what truly matters and fighting for it, even when it costs you everything." Sophia leaned forward, her gaze unwavering. "You could have 1 hour 7 minutes and 30 seconds had that, Vincent. You could have found someone who made you better instead of bitter. But you chose hate instead. Spare me the amateur psychology." Vincent reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. "You have 10 minutes to say goodbye to your precious husband before I make the call." Outside, through the earpiece, Sophia could hear Matteo positioning his men, getting ready to move. But they needed more time to breach the building without Vincent noticing. So Sophia did the only thing she could think of. She told him the truth. "You want to know why I really came here, Vincent? It's not to save Matteo's empire, and it's not even to save 1 hour 8 minutes and 5 seconds myself." She reached into her pocket and pulled out a piece of paper, folded and worn with age. "Before my grandmother passed away, she told me about a young man she knew in Naples. A boy from a good family who helped her when she had nothing, a stranger who showed compassion. He gave her money for passage to America when her own family had disowned her. She never forgot his kindness, never forgot his name." Sophia unfolded the paper, her hand trembling slightly. Her grandmother's handwriting was faded but still legible. "Giovanni Romano. Your grandfather, Vincent, the man you claim to honor. He saved my grandmother's life, which means 1 hour 8 minutes and 41 seconds he saved mine. 2. Our families are connected by kindness, by humanity, by the very thing you've spent your entire life rejecting. I love you, Sophia Romano, my wife, my partner, my salvation. I love you too, Matteo Romano, my husband, my home, my beautiful monster 1 hour 20 minutes and 1 second who turned out to be a man." Below them, the city sparkled with possibility, a million dreams unfolding under the night sky. Above them, the stars witnessed their promises, silent guardians of their love. And between them, love, real, owned, tested, and ultimately triumphant. Sophia had once been invisible, a nobody waitress with impossible dreams. Now she was seen, valued, and finally free. All because she had looked a dangerous man in the eyes and refused to bow down. All because he had looked back and seen not a servant, but an equal. All because sometimes the craziest risks lead to the most beautiful rewards. The Marcella Gallery 1 hour 20 minutes and 36 seconds and cafe open to a packed crowd. A vibrant celebration of art and life. Sophia's artwork adorned the walls, each piece telling a story of transformation and hope. Matteo managed the business side with surprising skill, proving to everyone that he was brilliant at legitimate enterprise. Patricia worked there part-time, fully recovered and radiating joy, her laughter echoing through the space. And in Sophia's arms, a 1-year-old daughter gurgled happily, her tiny hands reaching for the colorful artwork. Her name was Giovanna Romano, named for Matteo's grandfather, the man whose simple act of kindness had echoed through generations and ultimately saved them all. "She has your eyes?" Matteo whispered, kissing his daughter's forehead. "And your stubborn chin?" Sophia countered, her voice filled with love. "God help us." He laughed, shaking his head in mock despair. 1 hour 21 minutes and 9 seconds Vincent never returned. The last they heard, he had actually stayed at the monastery in Sicily, finding some semblance of peace, or at least an absence of war. It was enough. Antonio led the family with wisdom and strength, guiding them towards less violence and more legitimate business.